Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion, guys, and today we're gonna talk about it. Can you modify your car when it's under warranty? Guys, we're gonna talk about in this video because we have a short article from Capital One that breaks down if we can or cannot do this. This is actually super dope. But before I get into the video, first thing, shout out to my Boost in Motion family. I know you guys have already hit the like button. Thank you guys for your support. And if you're new to the Boost in Motion channel, I am Boost in Motion. I'm a Nissan Infiniti enthusiast, car enthusiast, and I report the news. So don't shoot the messenger, but I will give you guys my opinion. Anyways, let's jump right into this article. So, as I said, it came from Capital One, which is super surprising. I honestly can't believe Capital One would actually write an article talking about this. And what they said is, what is the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act for cars? Now, I've seen this term being thrown around for the last 10, 15 years of my life because I've been in this car game since I was 16. I am 35 now. Yes, so I'm pretty much an elder. I'm not an elder, but I'm old enough, right? And what this pretty much states, I'm going to go through the article, but what it states is they would have to deem that whatever part you put on the car directly affected that part. So just a quick analysis. Let's say you put an intake on the car, right? And then like your motor blew. They would have to say, well, the intake somehow modified the car or affected the car where it ran lean and it exploded. But that's something hard to prove because most cars will make changes to the air-fuel ratio depending on how much airflow it is. But let's say now you installed an intake system, right? And then let's say you had a screw or you left one of the screws loose or whatever, the filter failed and it got sucked into the motor and then it locked up the motor or something like that. Then they could actually say, oh yeah, that part failed and destroyed the motor. That's on you. Yes, guys. So let me move forward. So the Magnuson Act is pretty much, it provides you a legally binding guidance on what a product's warranty covers. While not every product is required to have a warranty, all new cars that leave the factory with coverage that typically lasts at least 3 years or 36,000 miles, whichever one comes first. Cars are complicated devices with many potential, although rare, failure points, and their use can range from light-duty commuting to heavy-duty service as taxi cabs and delivery vehicles. As a result, their warranties contain all sorts of provisions and lengthy disclaimers dictating what is and what is not covered by warranty. Now, extended warranties, whether offered by automaker, dealer, or telemarketer, may have even be more disclaimers that could make coverage increasingly difficult. Now, I also want to put a little caveat here. Extended warranty companies read the disclosure agreements and see what's actually covered. I had an issue with one of my cars, and their verbiage was so specific that when I had this failure on the car, they literally sat there and said, yeah, we cover the whole part, but we don't cover that internal part. So even though you'll have to change the whole one part, you'll have to pay for that alone. And it's like, because the internal part was a specific piece of the bigger part, it wasn't covered. So these warranty companies are super weird when it comes to these situations. The good news is the Moss Warranty Act institutes all way back to 1975 by Congress. That means that vehicle warranty must spell out its terms in clear language. This includes what type of parts an automaker might be able to compel to repair and replace, as well as wear items such as windshield wiper blades and tires that are not typically covered under warranty. Remember, those are use and abuse. So guys, if you have, let's say, like, if you get a car and this, I told one of my friends, if you get a brand new car and you drive it and the tires wear really fast, like under 1,000 miles, right? Technically, it's a wear and tear item, but that's not usual tire life. Tire life doesn't go out in 1,000 miles. So then they would have to inspect the part and see, oh shoot, a tie rod may have failed, or a bushing may have dried up and messed up. So then they would be like, you know what? Let's warranty it. They'll replace the tie rod or the bushing, and then you may also get as grace, you may get a new tire because it was not your fault that part on the car failed and then destroyed a secondary part. But if your car is in good running order and the tire failed because you were doing burnouts, abuse, that is not covered. Now, can you modify a car without without voiding its warranty? The simple answer is it depends. In clear language, guys, it just said it depends. Think about that. Modifying a vehicle can make it more difficult to maintain warranty coverage. Though the Warranty Act puts the burden on the automaker to prove that the modification directly contributes to the failure of the specific component, acting as an automaker's agent, the franchise dealer will typically decide whether to say oversized wheels and tires contribute to the early failure of your axle, right? On occasions, the dealership may reach out to the automaker on behalf to seek a resolution, though these situations are relatively rare. What a dealership and an automaker cannot do, according to the Warranty Act, is void a warranty simply because a modification is present. So, this is why people don't know what they you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. If they say, "Oh my God, your motor blew because you have an intake," that's not substantial ground for them to sit there and say that. That's it. You had a intake, so it blew. Okay, I put an intake on it. Your car makes modifications to the tune. Show me how it destroyed it. Explain to me how this intake system destroyed the motor. Because the motor just doesn't destroy because of intake. The motor destroys because either one is excessive heat, there's a lack of gasoline or fuel, which causes combustion. There's also oil pressure that can drop. There's also oil pressure that can increase. There's also oil temperature that can increase. There's so much failure points. Explain to me how it happened, right? Excuse me, guys. Bear with me. I gotta get back to that part because I'm getting more emotional because I don't like playing this nonsense where they sit there and tell us. They said, for instance, a lowered suspension with an aftermarket spring and shocks is highly unlikely to directly contribute to the inoperative power door lock. You see how it has to directly deal with that for them to say, oh yeah, we can't warranty that. Right? In this case, the automakers should cover the repair on a faulty door lock. Aftermarket parts typically carry their own warranties too. These warranties will still falling under certain guidelines such as the Magnuson Act are rarely as comprehensive as those who are covered on the entire vehicle. Cool. So, last question that they're saying is then, well, can you modify the bank's car, basically? Can you modify your bank's car? Consumers looking to personalize their vehicles will, with everything from simple window tinting film to suspension lift kits, may be concerned about how these modifications can affect the terms of their finance agreement and their warranty. Typically, lien holders such as banks and automakers, captive finance arms do not have any specific provisions that would prevent a vehicle owner from modifying the finance vehicle. So, guys, you can modify your car. You can modify your finance car. This is not the case when it comes to lease cars. I had 2 lease cars, right? However, simple terms will typically stipulate that the vehicle be in same condition aside from light wear and tear when it is turned in at the end of the lease. So modify the lease car and return it back stock when you send it back because you don't really get that money back. There are exceptions, of course. Some automakers offer factory back accessories that can usually be installed on a factory vehicle without voiding the terms of the financial agreement, such as AMS intakes, AMS heat exchanger, stuff like that. Examples of this includes wheels sold through the automaker's accessory catalog, as well as suspension lift kits for Jeeps and Toyotas offered to select models. Before you have these items installed, however, read the paperwork closely, since it may stipulate that the accessories must be fitted by factory authorized outlet. First thing, shout out to Capital One for writing an article like this. Like, you don't usually see them actually get more involved with these type of things. So I'm very shocked for them to do this, and I'm very thankful for them to speak on things like that because it's not often. It's really not often that we get to hear about this stuff, you know. So in my honest opinion, guys, you read the article. I've read it for you. You got to listen to my voice for too damn long. Can you modify a car under warranty? Yes, I'm going to give you guys my personal opinion on how I did it. Lease cars and finance cars. Lease cars, you put on parts that can quickly be taken off if need be. Some people will say this is claiming fraud if something bad ever happens. Don't use Boost's voice on video. But if something bad happens, take the parts off and return the car as stock as possible. If something ever happens to your engine, don't leave the aftermarket intake system on. You know, if you have headers, or if you have a natural aspirated car, you added headers or test pipes or high flow cats, anything where you change the catalytic converters on the car, that can deem you warranty against a warranty claim, because number one, federally you're not supposed to remove those things, and number two, you left it on. What are you doing? You see, they can see that the car was modified. And as the jokes I've been saying over the last couple of years is, if you ever cheat on your partner, guys, why would you ever go home with a condom on? Why would you do that? Why would you not burn the condom, flush down the toilet, something? Why would you ever go home with it on? So treat anything in life like that. Don't leave evidence. Oh man, that doesn't sound so good on video, but most of you guys, I've saved some of you guys' asses because of that. Just because of that one lingo. If it's a finance car, I would say you could necessarily do all what you want with the car too. The finance cars, very similar. Same thing. Just make sure that when it comes to these third-party warranty companies, they're not like the dealership. The dealership will look at this and see this stuff, but usually third-party warranties will want photos, or they'll send out an inspector. And if they looking for photos, they want to see that there was nothing replaced or nothing shiny and new that you put there, because they're gonna look at pictures of other stock cars just to see if they look similar. And if something looks like a shiny part and doesn't look like it's supposed to come on the car, they will definitely. It's very hard. Third party warranty companies are the worst, because they will say no. That's it. Because you sign a contract, and it isn't like you could push the Magnus or whatever thing on it. No, third party warranties, they are way more aggressive than dealerships. So with them, I think you need to be even more strict with them, and you don't want anything to be there. You want that car to look stock as a whistle. All right. So outside of that, guys, you have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you for banging with your boy Boost. I really appreciate you guys. Hopefully this video helps some of you younger guys who are now getting into the modifying community, because I know how it feels coming into something and not knowing much. And when I first came in at 16, 17, 18, there was no information out there. Now there's people like me on the internet that can help you pretty much build your car, and try your best to save that warranty, because, we make mistakes. So outside of, guys, you have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. You can add me at boostinmotion IG, Facebook. Also, you can send me an email at boostinmotion@gmail.com. Otherwise than that, guys, I appreciate it. You guys have a good day. Thank you.